Hello, my name is Jamie Height. I'm the founder and CEO of Diagnosing Networks, coming to you from the high-tech studios here in my kitchen in Durham, North Carolina, with my iPhone propped up against a salt and pepper shaker. So hopefully it will stay balanced so I can spend a few minutes talking to you about what my company will do and why I think I would be a good participant in the TSF's next program beginning in August. And to introduce what I'm interested in and what my product will ultimately accomplish, I thought I would read you a passage that I read this morning in this book called Why Most Things Fail by Paul Omeron, a British economist, and he's looking at current economic theory and identifying what he says are some of the key shortcomings and some of the things that economists fail to account for. And specifically, there's one sentence that captures sort of the theoretical background of what my product would ultimately do, and I will explain that product here in a second. He's talking about economic theory, and he says, the best way of understanding economics' behavior is to understand the pattern of the connections and how they behave. Network theory has focused a lot in the past few years on understanding markets as network systems, and the idea is if you can understand how the different pieces of the network fit together, you can better understand the network and therefore make it more efficient and ultimately, of course, make more money off of it. There are a lot of companies that are offering mapping software services. Key Hub's one that grew out of Duke University's Fuqua School of Business not too many years ago, is a prominent market-leading company. Org.net is another company that's had significant success with software that maps out networks. And while they're on the right track, and what Oreman is getting at here is that those approaches are ultimately not what we need to be doing if we're going to tap into the network structures in economics. And here's why. They focus primarily on generating a map of the networks, which essentially consists of nodes and links between the map, i.e. who is interacting with whom, how many times are they interacting, and if you can map that with a software, these companies say, then you can make these systems more efficient. What I am going to do is related to that approach, but it is fundamentally different, and my name really gets at the key difference. Whereas the companies with whom I would be competing are generating maps of networks, I'm talking about diagnosing them, a medical scan, if you will, an MRI of the system. And I highlight that difference in approach because it captures what is different in what I would generate with my product. A map gives you a very rough overview, but it doesn't really tell you about what's going on kind of under the hood of the system. An MRI, on the other hand, not only looks under the skin of a person, of course, it's scanning for problems. It's looking for those root causes of people who are sick. The reason that there aren't any products that I'm aware of that can offer this more medical or organic look, if you will, at what's going on in a network is that it's incredibly difficult to quantify the context and the effect of how people are interacting. It's much, much easier to say person A interacts with person B. You can draw two nodes on the computer, connect them with a line. You can do this for an entire system and you come up with a very pretty picture. What you can't capture is the qualitative effect of those interactions. I'll go back to my competitors at Key Hubs, for example. They would generate a picture that makes the nodes on this computer screen bigger based on the number of interactions that person in question is having with others. That's great, but there's an underlying assumption that more is good. And as you will see in the documents I've uploaded with this application, I point out specifically an example from my own work using my own system why stress on the number of interactions is actually a very bad way to make decisions. And that gets at what I want to do. I want to build a cloud-based system that does quantify how people are interacting. It measures the overall what I call health of the system. So if you have an office, say, of 15 people, I can create a questionnaire for you that generates an inside look at the health of that 15-member network. And what I do more specifically is identify the points that are quote-unquote sick, those that have a negative effect on the entire network, because if you can identify where the sicknesses are, of course, you can begin to cure them, if I can extend the metaphor of what diagnosing networks is going to do. On the other hand, of course, if you find elements of that network of 15 people that are very positive, you can sort of lean more heavily on them. You want to put emphasis on the strongest members of your team, just like you want in a group or in an individual even, to focus on your strengths. So more about the system briefly. It's designed using my own questionnaires and my own underlying psychological research, my own philosophical premises. It's sort of the secret sauce. It's not being done elsewhere. I'm confident in that. And given the right context, which I believe TSF would be, I am hopeful that I can translate the system that I've developed and has been successful in analog. And as I said, I'll upload some graphics that I've generated based on past work using these methods. I would like to make it cloud-based so that I can measure the health of any system anywhere. All you would have to do is give me the names of the people in the network, and I would give you login information for each of them. And based on the questions and the approach to quantifying and qualifying how people are interacting, I can generate a look inside of the network that can be used by anyone to make it healthier, quote unquote, and by that, of course, I mean more efficient, able to take on more work, to be better at that work, to, again, extend the medical analogy, find the weaknesses, find the sickness, and improve them. It's a very brief overview. I'm conscious that my video is running a bit long here, so I'm going to say thank you for taking a few minutes to listen to what I have to say. I'm hoping that my written answers will help fill in some of the gaps of what Diagnosing Networks is going to be doing, and I look forward to the opportunity of working with you. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.